Hello everybody, my name is Midnight and I'm a recent graduate of devCodeCamp's full stack development program. Today I'm going to be presenting for you my capstone project called Actiscribe. So I used to be an activities professional in geriatric care, and on the surface it's a wonderfully fun job. You get to play, you get to do games with people. But the other side of that is that it's a very emotionally and intellectually draining job. One of the things that is draining about it is that you have to create care plans for all of your residents. Now that could be 10 residents, that could be 50 or 60 residents, and at the very least you have to be doing a new fresh look at it every 3 months. Now if someone has changes, you have to be doing that more frequently, and as their needs change, you have to change their care plan. So I created Actiscribe to take into account what are called the dimensions of wellness. You may be familiar with those because it is something that a lot of people say we should all strive to live our lives by, to ensure that you have physical wellness, social wellness, emotional wellness, and so on and so forth. There are 10 categories that I used personally for this. Some people say there's 6, some people say there's 8. There is no right or wrong answer to it. The 10 is just what I used to create Actiscribe with. The state operations manual that sets the guidelines for long-term care in these facilities is very vague about what activities need to entail, just that you need to provide person-centered care. So Actiscribe has not only all of its features, but it has a wealth of information as well to help you care plan effectively. So in most of these facilities that I've been in, to create these care plans, I have sticky notes lining the room of my computer and all over my desk, and I have 3 or 4 different notebooks or different documents open where you have to control F to be like, okay, let me find the one person that I'm working on out of my documentation for 60 people. It's not a very effective system, and it takes your time off the floor, and it just takes a lot of time and it's a lot of work. So I created Actiscribe to help alleviate some of that. So we are going to register a new account so you can see it as a new user, new perspective. So after you create an account and log in, the first thing you're probably going to want to do is enter your residents' information. Like I said, you might have 10 residents, you might have 60. So the very first time that you come in and input these, you're going to want it to be fairly quick and responsive. Actiscribe allows you to put your residents in and does not redirect you. It lets you stay there on that page and just put one in after another. You get a notification, tells you, hey, this was successful, so that you have a visual confirmation because the page isn't changing. Nothing is changing. So it stays there so that you can, add those maybe 10, 20 people. Now, granted, the only time you might need that is when you first sign up. After that, you're probably only getting 1 new resident. I think the most I had in the span of a week was 4. And even that isn't too bad. But if we go over here to the activities page, it does the same thing. Now the other side of Actiscribe is that you have to create an activity plan that encompasses all of the needs of all of your residents. And you can write them out on a grid, write them out on paper, but there is no good way to see if you have a balanced care plan or activity plan. It's just there on paper. There's nothing. So Actiscribe lets you put all of your activities in as well. Like the residents, it doesn't refresh. And after you put them in, it shows you a chart. And this chart tells you what percentage in each category you have activities in. Now your activities, you're going to be looking at least every month. Most facilities do a monthly calendar and that monthly calendar is going to change. Your population is going to change. Your residents and their interests are going to change. So being able to see your activities and add and remove and change them on a regular basis is just as important as being able to do so to your residents. So one of the cool features about Actiscribe is that instead of just deleting an activity, you can archive it. there might be something that you have, 10 people interested in. Maybe it's a winter activity. Just archive it for the summer because you're going to bring it back. You want to see its details. You want to have its details. You want to have the record of who liked it, 3 months ago when you archived it versus when you unarchive it now. So it's a handy feature to have rather than just axe it and just get rid of it. So now we're going to log in with an account that has a little bit more data. So if I go to the activity home screen now on this account that has more stuff on it, we're immediately going to get a see that it's telling us, hey, you're lacking in these dimensions of wellness. So let's go check that out. When we go to the activity detail, we can see the chart that shows us which areas we're lacking in, and if you're not a visual, you don't like, seeing a little pie chart, it's listed out. I prefer to see it listed out, but everybody, we all have different ways of taking in information. So I tried to account for multiple different ways. So one of the really cool features, probably my favorite feature about this, is that you can filter your activities. So you can go in, you can select a dimension of wellness, and you can see all of your activities by that dimension of wellness. Now it doesn't matter if it's in the first spot, second spot, third spot. It takes it all into account when it's calculating for these dimensions of wellness and searching for them. The other thing that you can do is you can search for a date range. So like if you had that activity that is it's a winter activity, you can search it week by week and see, okay, when is this tapering down? When are people not interested anymore? Are they interested this week? Were they interested last week? Okay, this is when I should remove it. It's just another tool to help an activity professional be successful in creating a plan that's going to make them happy and their residents happy, and making our residents happy is the ultimate goal. So let's take a look at one of our residents and their details. We're going to look at me. I made myself a resident. So as we can see, we click on me and my chart is also unbalanced. So each resident also provides a chart so that when you go to care plan for them, you can look and go, okay, why are they lacking in this area? And it might be okay. Like, that is the thing about this industry, is that it is completely subjective and completely different in every case. So this is purely informational. It is not telling you, okay, you need this and you need to change it now. No, it's telling you, hey, this is how it is. Cool? No? Yeah, you decide. Actiscribe is a tool. It is not, an instructional or a guideline or anything like that. So in seeing all of that, we can more easily see the patterns in our residents and the people that we're providing for. Like I said, might be okay, might not. So we can, with our residents, we can see what they've participated in, what activities they've done most often. We can input and edit what's called an admission assessment. So when people first move in, you ask them a bunch of questions so that you can get to know them. It's a whole big long process behind that, but it's a tool. You don't have to use it, you can use it. Helps you keep everything all in one place. You can edit their name, you can edit their room number. They might move rooms, they might get married, their name might change. So all of that functionality is there. One of the other cool things that would have helped me as an activities director is the notes function. That sounds really simple, but having sticky notes all around your computer and all over your desk, let me tell you, when my office flooded, it was a disaster. I lost all those notes. So you have your notes here. We're gonna, let's see, this note is from a while ago. We're gonna edit it. You can change it. It updates in real time. Likewise, we can delete that note or add a new one. Super simple, super quick and effective, and gets rid of all the sticky notes. But I still love sticky notes. They're great. They had their time and place. They're great. They're pretty now too. So now let's go into the participation, and we are going to add some participation to our residents, because that's really where Actiscribe, nothing happens if you don't have any participation. So we're going to create that connection between our residents and our activity. So the participation page is where an activities professional is probably going at the end of their day. or at the end of their week if they haven't had time to do it every day. So it is a simple and clean and effective page so that you can just bam, 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 get it in and get it done. It allows you to put in a person, put in an activity, put in a date. You can change the activity, submit again. You can change the person, submit again. If you had a really successful activity, you could be putting 10, 20 people in at one time. And I try to make it as quick as possible and as painless as possible. And ultimately, it is still faster than writing them down and searching through those notes later. So I think that's all of the features that Actiscribe has to offer. I probably missed one or two, but there's a lot. And it was fun. This was made possible and brought to you by a backend of Django, Python, REST framework, and Postman to check the API calls. It was brought to you by a front end of React with the libraries of Sass, D3, which is also known as Observable, Toastify, Axios, and React. Thank you for watching. And send me an email, LinkedIn, whatever, if you have any questions. Thank you.